Well, hello. I'm Matt Williamson, and it is Sunday evening. I've been biting my tongue all weekend, thinking, well, not biting my tongue, but anxiously awaiting to have a podcast with you guys. And kind of decided, well, the weekend has ended. I'm going to pour myself a drink and hang with the wife. I don't think there's going to be any Steeler news. Monday will be exciting. And then what happens? Just 1 second ago, maybe 2 minutes ago, blockbuster. The Steelers are acquiring two-time Pro Bowl wide receiver DK Metcalf from the Seahawks. Sources tell Tom Pelissero and Rap Sheet. Metcalf, 27 years old, is expected to get a new contract while Seattle gains flexibility and draft capital as they continue to retool. And then came out that he is signing a 5-year, $150 million contract with the Steelers. The $33 million new money averages makes it the largest deal in franchise history. I guess we'll start with the contract super quick. I don't want to look too much into that. I mean, if it's a 5-year deal, I'm sure they can get out of it. It's probably a 2-year deal. Call it a 5-year deal, or a 3-year deal, call it a 5-year deal. But I don't know the details of that. You don't look into the contract. The contract details won't be available to me. Like I said, this happened a minute ago. So I ran down to my basement, fired up GarageBand, and decided we'd have a little chat, something for you on Monday morning. So, pretty exciting stuff. And boy, has the league been buzzing since you and I talked last. I mean, there has been so much stuff going on. A lot of teams re-signing their own. Myles Garrett extension, Josh Allen extension. I mean, like the biggest extensions in NFL history. And where I'm going with that is, don't worry too much about the money. This league is really healthy, and the salary cap is going up really fast. So it's not your money. Don't worry about it. He's not worth that kind of money. I don't need to hear that stuff, because if Myles Garrett is worth $5 million more than the next best guy at his position, then DK Metcalf is worth every bit of this. This does not seem crazy to me at all. So, very exciting stuff. But first, I'm going to tell you about BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA to college basketball to NHL and UFC, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline is you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. So, again, this is such first blush by me. I can't help but think, boy, conversations with Justin Fields aren't going smooth, or at least he's going to go into Monday, Tuesday, and see what's out there. You have to think about the Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf combination. Would Metcalf be excited about this deal if he didn't know that some sort of quarterback, maybe it is Wilson, is in place? I don't know. I just want to throw that obvious connection out there. That's the elephant in the room to me, is these guys played together in Seattle. Metcalf is a big-time deep threat, which is exactly what Wilson is as a passer. Doesn't mean it's not Fields. I don't even know that Aaron Rodgers is off the table. I'm not here to talk quarterbacks. I don't know. But I can't believe that something doesn't get done at the quarterback position really soon. Now, I mentioned this before when many of you asked about Metcalf. My initial thought, it doesn't have to be, but I think this makes trading Pickens much, much easier. I mean, if you're convinced as a Steeler ownership that we're not going to give this guy an extension, or that he's going to be a problem, or his teammates aren't big on him, blah, 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 all of which could be true, you got another outside the numbers, big dog, game-changing, take the top off type of player. Now, thinking about them on the field together is also tantalizing, to say the least. I mean, they are big highly talented players. But we know this team likes their picks too, and the only way I could see them maneuvering the draft board with their picks is moving Pickens, perhaps. Now, I don't know if Pickens would yield more than a mid to late second that they gave up. I tend to think he would because of his talent and age. Who knows? But what you need to know here is these are two, Pickens and Metcalf, of the most volatile receivers in the league. Now, by no means does Metcalf seem like he's a bad guy or off the field or work ethic or unlikable issues. None of that kind of stuff. But the league has figured out that on game day they can get under his skin and not necessarily throw him off his game, but they can get him swinging and get flags thrown in DK's direction a lot. So you have Pickens and Metcalf out there. That's a forest fire in terms of volatility. Doesn't mean you can't live with it. I mean, that's why Tomlin's making the big bucks or whatever he said. And he's dealt with bigger personalities at wide receiver than DK Metcalf, that's for sure. But they are slightly redundant in terms of what they bring. But I also don't think we've seen nearly as much in-breaking slants, crossers that is capable of both players. And let's talk about let's finish this thing up by talking about what Metcalf is. He's ridiculously large and ridiculously muscular and is the best looking wide receiver you'll ever see. He fell to the second round because it was an awesome wide receiver draft. That's the year the Steelers took Deontay Johnson. And he ran a 3-cone drill like he's Tom Brady. I mean, some people talked about him coming out of the draft as, in terms of cornering and changing directions, that he's an aircraft carrier, and kind of made me chuckle, I mean, but he hasn't been like that in the NFL. I mean, I'm not saying he's Antonio Brown, blowing up, guys stopping on a dime, exploding out of his brakes like a Ferrari, but he's not an aircraft carrier either. I mean, you watch him run slants, in-breakers, outs, comebacks, stop on a dime stuff. Yeah, he's a big body, and it takes him a second to come back. But he's also a huge target, and his change of direction stuff and route running is way better than it was as a prospect, when he was playing next to A.J. Brown in college. So he has consistently gotten better, in my opinion, especially with those type of things. He'll block. He'll knock you in the next week when he wants to. I mean, this guy might be 240 pounds in the real world. Like, I'm excited just to stand next to him and see what he looks like because it's crazy. So, as is often the case with Omar Khan, I'm sure there's other shoes to drop. The receiver room, I'm sure, is not complete. A big-name guy could be on his way out. Who knows? It's just a hunch by me, especially with the style of receiver they just acquired. But I think a second-round pick, especially at that portion of round 2, and the money is a very, very fair price. And as you've noticed, Seattle traded Geno Smith. They're year 2 of their regime. They're trying to get young. They're trying to get their guys. So that's exactly what Seattle's trying to do here, and they've accomplished it with 2 big moves. And they were really, really tight strapped in Seattle. Not that you care. You're worried about DK. And hey, it works well for our founder as well. DK and DK. Gotta love that. I don't have a whole lot else to add. I mean, I think that the next podcast will be interesting when we learn more. But I did want to introduce you to DK Metcalf if you didn't know who he is. I mean, of course, he's a tackle breaker. He's got good hands. I mean, he is a physical marvel. And at his age, I think there's a lot left on the bone. That 5-year contract to me stands out as a little bit of funny money at the end, probably, but who knows. And they got a lot more money to make a lot more moves. So that's my initial impressions. I'm sure a lot of you will be excited about it. I'm sure some of you will respond with things like, well, what's the difference if I don't have a quarterback? Well, I'm pretty sure they'll have a quarterback. I'm not sure who at this moment. Again, I'm recording this at 8:03 on Sunday night, p.m. But it is exciting news. And I know a couple of you, and a little bit myself. We're starting to get a little anxious. I mean, you're seeing all these teams with news, and the Steelers weren't one of them. But doesn't mean it wasn't coming or that Monday, Tuesday won't be a lot of action for the black and gold. I do expect that. They have a lot of cap space. They have a lot of capabilities to make more. And yeah, this ate up some of it. I don't know exactly how much it eats up this year, but spending should not be a problem. Obviously, a quarterback spending is going to take up a big chunk, but they can still go get a corner. They can still do other things. And I will say, I don't think the teasing or the Ayuk stuff that we've all been exposed to almost for a year now, I think all of that was true, that they've been actively trying to get a wide receiver that's a big name, legit dude that all of you have had on your fantasy type guys. But this guy has a lot fewer warts than Debo, Kupp, those type of guys, what you could get in free agency. I mean, this is a big-time football player. I think you guys are going to like him. Real excited to see what the next thing is, and I'll be responding like crazy. Usually I do 5 podcasts a week, starting Sunday up until Friday or Thursday. But I'm just going to keep banging out podcasts basically when things happen, and hopefully they can get to you as soon as possible. But this is a big move, and as of right now, I totally get it and made them a lot better football team. All right, guys, take care.